Before this story even begins, I need you to do something for me. If you enjoy real stories that blur the line between desire, guilt, and consequence, then hit like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. Because what you're about to hear isn't just shocking, it's a secret I carried for years. And once you hear how it started, you won't be able to look away. The air in that house felt thick, not because of the weather, but because of everything left unsaid. It was the kind of tension that settled deep in your chest, coiled low in your stomach, made your thoughts wander to places you didn't want to admit out loud. The kind of heat that had nothing to do with summer. I remember standing there, pressed against the wall of the guest room, my heart racing for reasons that terrified me. Someone stood close, too close. I could feel their presence without even turning my head. Every breath felt louder than the last. And in that moment, before anything truly happened, I realized something frightening. I had already crossed the line in my mind. My name doesn't matter. What matters is the choice I made, and how easily it happened. I married Ethan when I was 27. We met during a corporate retreat in Houston, the kind filled with bland hotel coffee and forced team-building games. He stood out, not because he was flashy but because he was solid, clean-cut, confident in a quiet way, the kind of man my friends described as safe. And back then, safe sounded like peace. I had spent my early 20s chasing intensity, relationships that burned hot and collapsed fast. By the time Ethan came along, I was exhausted by chaos. I wanted calm. I wanted predictable. I wanted a future that didn't feel like walking on glass. So when he chose me, I said yes. The early years were comfortable, affectionate, functional. We moved in together. We planned a wedding just outside Austin. Small, warm, familiar. We talked about dogs, kids someday, the perfect quiet neighborhood. From the outside, we looked like a finished picture. But pictures don't show what's missing. As the years passed, Ethan climbed higher in his career. Promotions came with longer hours. Late nights turned into early mornings. Business trips stacked up. At first, I understood. I supported him. I told myself this was temporary. But slowly, I stopped feeling like a partner and started feeling like furniture. I was there, polished, presentable, useful for appearances, but inside something hollowed out. He still touched me, still kissed me goodnight, but it felt routine, safe, predictable. And predictable, I learned, can feel like invisibility. Ethan had two close friends from college, Travis and Mike. They were opposites. Travis was bold, confident to the point of arrogance. The kind of man who filled a room without asking permission. He laughed loud, spoke freely, and never hid his interest. Mike, on the other hand, stayed in the background. Observant. Quiet. The type who noticed details others missed. He didn't flirt openly, but when he looked at you, it felt intentional. At first, their attention felt harmless. A compliment here. A lingering glance there. Nothing crossed a line. At least not officially. But attention, when you've been starving for it, can feel intoxicating. It happened during a barbecue at our place. Music played. Drinks flowed. Laughter filled the backyard. Ethan had more beer than usual and disappeared into the house early, completely worn out. I stayed behind to clean. That's when Travis stepped into the kitchen. He leaned against the counter, casual, watching me longer than necessary. "You always look incredible," he said. I laughed it off. I told myself it meant nothing. But then he added, quieter this time, "You deserve to be noticed." Something inside me froze. Because he was right. And instead of stepping away, I stayed. That was the first mistake. After that night, my mind betrayed me. Lying beside my husband, staring at the ceiling, I replayed moments I shouldn't have remembered. Words. Glances. What ifs. I hated myself for it. But desire doesn't ask permission. 2 weeks later, Ethan invited Travis over to watch a game. I told myself I'd go to bed early. I didn't. The house grew quiet. The television murmured in the background. Ethan slept soundly, unaware. I walked downstairs wrapped in a robe, heart pounding for reasons I didn't want to name. Travis looked up. We locked eyes. No words were needed. That was the moment, the exact second. I chose curiosity over loyalty. And once a line is crossed, there's no erasing it. That night didn't end the way stories usually warn you it will. There was no dramatic explosion. No sadenruelesaschen. No guilt strong enough to stop me. Instead, there was silence. The kind that settles after a storm you pretend never happened. Travis left before morning. Ethan woke up unaware. The house returned to normal. Coffee brewed. Work emails came in. Life continued as if nothing had changed. But everything had changed. Because once you step into a secret, you don't go back to who you were before it. 4 days afterward, I existed in 2 worlds. In one, I was Ethan's wife, supportive, calm, dependable. In the other, I carried a hidden spark that refused to die. Every time Travis texted something harmless in the group chat, my pulse jumped. Every time Ethan mentioned his friends, my stomach tightened. I told myself it was a one-time mistake. I told myself it would fade. It didn't. Travis had a way of making everything feel urgent. He didn't text often, but when he did, it was casual, confident, as if nothing inappropriate had ever happened. That somehow made it worse. Because it made me feel chosen, not reckless. One evening, Ethan mentioned inviting him over again. My heart raced, and I hated myself for how fast it did. I should have said no. I didn't. Their visits became frequent. Games on TV. Drinks on the table. Laughter echoing through the house. On the surface, it was normal. Underneath, it was anything but. There were looks that lasted a second too long. Moments when our hands brushed in passing. Silences loaded with things we refused to say out loud. I became careful, and careless at the same time. Careful not to be obvious. Careless because I wanted to be seen. Poker night had always been simple. Ide prepara snacks. Say hello. Disappear upstairs. But that night, Ethan asked me to stay. I remember standing in front of the mirror, choosing what to wear, telling myself it meant nothing. That I wasn't trying to prove anything. Still, I noticed the shift in the room when I walked in. Travis noticed. And so did Mike. Mike, the quiet one. He didn't stare the way Travis did. He observed. His attention felt slower. Heavier. That unsettled me more than confidence ever could. Ethan didn't last long that night. He excused himself, tired. Unaware of the tension left behind. The recliner creaked as he fell asleep. Mike stood to leave soon after. At the door he paused. Looked back at me. Not boldly, not shyly, just thoughtfully. Then he left. Travis didn't. When the door closed, the room felt smaller. Travis leaned closer, his voice low. You know what you're doing, right? I should have ended it right there. Instead I asked, do I? That was enough. Some moments don't need details to be remembered. What mattered was how easily everything happened. How natural it felt to step further into something I knew I couldn't control. Ethan slept peacefully nearby. That was the night I stopped pretending this was accidental. After that, it wasn't chaos. It was scheduling. Quick conversations. Carefully timed meetings. Excuses layered over lies. It didn't feel wild anymore. It felt intentional. And that scared me more than the desire itself. Then came the message that changed everything. It wasn't from Travis. It was from Mike. A short text. Come. Direct. Can we talk? My heart stopped. Because Mike wasn't impulsive. And that meant he knew something. When he came over, he didn't accuse me. He didn't raise his voice. He simply told me what he had seen. Not in anger. In honesty. What shocked me most wasn't fear. It was relief. For the first time, someone knew the truth. And didn't look at me like I was broken. Mike didn't rush. Didn't demand. Didn't take. He listened. And in that listening, something shifted. Because for the first time in years, I didn't feel desired. I felt understood. That night didn't feel reckless. It felt intimate. And intimacy is far more dangerous. Because desire fades, but connection lingers. I told myself it was still under control. I was wrong. If this story pulled you in, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because the next part reveals a choice that changes everything.